Hey, Bigger Pockets. This is Matt. Today I want to share with you guys what life is like as a full-time real estate investor. I've been doing this full-time for a while now, and some days are interesting, some days are not. Last week I had a really interesting day that had a lot of different lessons blended into it, so I thought I'd share it with you. So we own a property in Philadelphia. I live about 45 minutes or so away from there in New Jersey. And every here and again, I have to go into Philadelphia to go all the way downtown to do some just appearances for the municipal building or anything that may come up. So this was one of those days. So I get up, I'm in the car on the way down, and I always optimize my time when I'm in the car during business hours. I just get the cell phone out, make my list of people I need to call, and I make the driver's seat of the car my office. And so I called one of my tenants that is a little bit behind on the rent. It's okay. And my property manager normally deals with this, but for tenants in my office complex where I have an office too, I tend to know them a little better, and sometimes I'll reach in and give a call to support him, and sometimes it's kind of like Big Brother coming down to reach out to a tenant if the property manager is needing some support. So I called the tenant directly, and we made an arrangement for getting their rent paid. And they're going to take care of it, but it's one of those things where we made a verbal arrangement. But here's the lesson: when we came up with what the arrangement for getting the rent paid was, afterwards I called my property manager and I had him write up a written document for the tenant to sign. So always put any type of arrangements for getting tenants getting caught up in writing. Residential tenants, that's what we do, written payment plans. Commercial tenants, of course, we do that too. When I was speaking with the tenant on the phone, I told her that this is what was going to be coming down the pipe. She was going to have to sign something. And second, I told her what the repercussions of her not meeting the payment plan were. For commercial, we can just go ahead and lock them out. For residential, you've got to go through the court process to be a sheriff lockout and everything like that. But for commercial, typically what we do is we lock them out and then file. So I let her know that if you don't make this payment plan, we will be changing your locks. And no problem, she agreed to it. I don't think we're going to have a problem there. But that's lesson number one: is put your payment plans in writing and make sure tenants understand what the repercussions of back payments or what they don't do. If they don't do it, what it's going to look like for them. So that's the lesson that just came up through just a few phone calls. Second, while I was talking to my property manager, he's been with us for about 4 months. He's been a phenomenal employee, but I've broken down his role into 10 points. Okay, 10 call them like management factors for myself. Things that matter. These are things like delinquencies, lease renewals that he has to worry about, maintenance issues, those kinds of things. I'll do another article on those 10 points and we'll discuss them in more detail. The point to this is, here's the lesson, is have management factors for anyone that reports to you, be that a direct employee or be that a third party that reports to you, like if you want to hire a third party property manager or whatever it is. Have points of management. These even work for contractors. For contractors, it's real simple. When are you going to be done? And how much do I owe you? And are you going to pass inspections and inspect them on quality? So really, in contractors, you want to inspect them on quality, time, and money, right? But just have points of inspection, because then you know what questions you want to drill in on. If you don't have that, you're just going to go and ask whatever comes to mind. But before you engage, develop what your points of management are going to be, and you can ask very drilling, very pointed questions of these folks when you're dealing with them. So I was dealing with my property manager. I know my 10 points of management for him, and so when we talked, it was very clear on what our conversation was. So I arrive in Philadelphia. Of course, I parked at the wrong building, had to walk, get a little exercise walking outdoors to the courthouse that I had to appear at. The reason for this hearing was we have an apartment building in Northeast Philadelphia that we're very happy with, but there's a dumpster there. And the city of Philadelphia was kind enough to go out and cite us for trash being set on the outside of the dumpster or the dumpster overflowing or whatever it is. We weren't aware this issue was there. My maintenance guy goes down once a week and does a spot check on the building. When he went, that wasn't happening. The city of Philadelphia was kind enough to send me these violations, and they were dated The violation was dated in June, July, August of this year. The thing that they didn't mail me any of these violations until early September. I got a postmark on the letter. They sent me 8 violations at one time. They go back 4 months. That's not fair, right? So I decided I'm going to go to court. Why not? So I went to court and I debated the violations, and I said, you've sent me all these violations, and I acknowledge we have a problem. And of course, the judge and the inspector was there with his photos and things like that. And I said, I don't deny that we have we have a problem with the dumpster. And oh, by the way, we've now gone to more pickups and a larger dumpster and things like that. And so we don't have this problem anymore, but we were not aware of it, right? It's got to be a mutual agreement with the township. If there's a problem, I'm happy to resolve it, but you have to make me aware of it. So I made that argument. I had the stack of letters they had sent me with postmarks on them and everything like that. And the judge was kind enough to remove all but one. He went from 8 to 1 of those violations. So I'll take it. I'll bring my checkbook out right now and write that. On the way out the door, I heard another property manager, sighing and saying, yeah, I'm here for all these dumpster violations. So I was just feeling so good about my interaction with the judge that I looked at her and I said, hold on 1 second. So I paid my fine and then went to her, sat down and told her all about the experience that I had just had. And it turns out she's been a property manager for 20 years. Her owner is looking to, maybe aging out of the business, is maybe looking to sell some things. We exchanged information. There's great possibility of us doing some work together in the very near future. So the lesson there is listen up. Always listen to the world around you. You never know when a conversation may happen with the person right next door to you in the checkout line at the grocery store that might be a good lead for your business. So listen up, and always, if you can, always engage people in friendly conversation, because you never know what's going to come up from there. So it's very easy to bury yourself in your cell phone when you're waiting in the lobby or something like that. But it's even better to just talk to the people around you. You never know who you're going to be sitting there with. So here's the last little vignette with the last lesson there. I left Philly and headed down to South Jersey. We're looking at actually a 100-unit complex, which I'm really excited about. And I got there early, and that's the lesson. When you're looking at new property, I don't know if it's a 100-unit, great, kudos. Even if it's a single-family home or a wholesale, whatever it is, get to the property early. And the reason that is, here's what that allowed me to do. I got there really early, like 45 minutes early. I drove all around the neighborhood. I got to see, this is a B-class neighborhood. It's nice. It's right this time of year, it's Halloween, right? Or just after Halloween. So all the houses were all tricked out for Halloween, all of them. Nice little downtown area. No board ups, nothing that looked like it was dilapidated. Not tons of for sale signs in people's yards like everybody's vacating or nobody can sell their house or anything like that. I got to the apartment complex and I saw it was like a C, maybe even a D-class property in a B neighborhood. Had I gotten there with 5 minutes to spare, I would have gone straight to the property and not had a chance to really, really vet out the neighborhood that it was in. So when I got there, I felt very comfortable with the area. I knew what I was dealing with before I even got out of my car. My broker calls me and says, hey man, how far out are you? And I'm like, how far out are you? I'm here, And so I was able to get there and walk the property and feel comfortable with where I was and everything. So that's the last lesson. Get places early when you're looking at new property so you can vet out the surrounding area, because you're not just looking at the property, you're looking at the neighborhood it's in, the surrounding area, everything around it. So those are the lessons. It was a fantastic day. I was I love being out of the office, by the way. That's a whole nother conversation, but it was one of those days where I was out of the office, got to be on the road, and so I just felt great, and there was a ton of lessons woven in there. So I hope this was informative. Please leave some comments on what came up for you during the story, maybe things that you're getting if you're a full-timer, some lessons that you've got that you want to share here too. So thank you so much for listening and for reading. I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.